Hi, my talented ecologists. So this is the video I promised you about figuring out how to manipulate Excel into making standard deviations whiskers. Okay. Just to backtrack a minute and kind of catch you up. What I did here, so this is the sheet on the Excel file that I posted on Canvas where I left it open for you to do your work. Okay. And so I just put in completely random. I just was typing and just put random numbers in there. Okay. I shouldn't say random, haphazard. Okay. That was inappropriate. It's Sunday. See, my brain is not in teacher mode right now. So that's anyway. So haphazardly put in numbers. Then what I did is, because I had put the equations already loaded into this, all of the min, max, range, all of that stuff automatically calculated. I didn't do anything with that. Okay. What I did do is I put in the equation for the performance curve that we went over in class. So I think you know how to do this, but just in case, right? Remember that what a performance curve is essentially a running mean, right? So it's the mean of the first number, and then it's the mean of the first two numbers, and then it's the mean of the first three numbers, so on and so forth. Okay. And so the way that you set up that equation is I'll even do it real fast because why not? Right. So you click on that cell, and that cell is equal to this cell. No, it's not. It's equal to the average, because that's what they call the mean, of this cell, colon, same cell, close parentheses, right? And then the thing I always forget to do is put in my dollar bills, y'all. Put in my dollar signs in front of the letter and the number to essentially lock that cell. And then I'm going to let Excel do this math for me, because why not? Right. So I click on that cell, grab the little green corner. Boop. Then I'm going to grab the little green corner again and go boop. Let's see if it worked. I don't know if it did. Probably didn't. Right. So nice. I'm looking in the little menu bar there and seeing, yep, that's what I wanted it to do. Over here, it's not, because it stayed locked on the B because it couldn't read my mind. Right? This is what I mean by you have to check what Excel does, because you can tell it to do something wrong and it will do what you asked for. So what I asked for in that case was to keep that, keep that one the same. So yeah. So I'm going to have to do this separately, which, once again, it's going to take me 30 seconds. So it's fine, right? So it's the average of this to itself, close parentheses. But then remember, we got to put in our little dot signs. Okay, that looks better. And then I'm clicking on it so that it's green. And then I'm scrolling down. Now let's spot check. Okay, I'm looking at the average, I'm looking at the little menu. Beautiful, nice. And then, because I'm a little bit compulsive, I can't leave that. So beautiful. Okay, now I can't remember how I set this up in the file that I posted for you. You might have to mess with it a little bit to make it look like this. You're not putting this performance curve in your lab report anywhere. But why are we doing it if you're not putting it in there? What is the point of the performance curve again? Pause, wait for you to think about it. So the point is for you to see if your sample size is big enough. So this doesn't, it sort of is leveling off, but meh. So this is something you might talk about in your discussion as sources of error or problems, right? So perhaps our statistical analysis would be more accurate if our sample size was larger. Something like that. Yeah. So, but like I said, this is my made up data. So I don't know if yours is going to look like this or not. I just, haphazardly typed in numbers. Okay. It's good practice to always make your charts, make your graphs look the same way. So it should come up with the title box already there. you have to go where it says, I'm actually going to close out for a second. You have to go to the little green plus to put in the axis titles, right? So I'm going to do that. Okay. And then the other thing is I hate the grid lines. Do I hate the grid lines? I hate the grid lines. Can I make them go away? Yes. So if you click on grid lines and then click off grid lines, they'll go away. And then one other thing that I like to do, and then of course, I'm not going to do it, but you would go in and actually change these titles. So they don't just say axis title and chart title. The other thing that I like to do is so I don't know what this looks like on a Mac because you guys can't right click, but on a PC, if you right click in the middle of the just field of the chart somewhere, there's the option to format plot area. And if you click on that, it lets you put a border around the whole thing. And I kind of like that. Yeah. So anyway, so there's that. Okay. So now the part that you're actually here for is we need to do a graph we need to do a bar graph for our means with standard deviation whiskers. Okay. So what I did right here, drawing your attention right here, is I just copied and pasted this data from up here. But remember, this is important. I didn't just copy and paste the formula. I copied and pasted as the value, right? So when I click on each one of these cells, it's the number. It's not the formula for how that number was calculated. And that's going to be important because otherwise it's not going to be the same number that it is up there. It's going to be something else, okay? Because it changes, anyway. Okay. So what I did is I basically just pulled out from these columns, I just pulled out the stuff that I care about for this particular graph. So I put in the north and south again. And if you want to, instead of it being N and S, if you want to type out north and south, that would be lovely. And I just put mean in there as like a placeholder, whatever. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight those 6 cells. So the labels across the top and across the side, and then the 2 values. Notice I did not highlight where it says standard deviation yet. Okay. Then I'm going to go, and you might have a different version of Excel than I have. So yours might look slightly different, but the menus don't really change that. They look different, but they don't really change like substantially that much. So you probably have a menu that says insert. You better have a menu that says insert. And usually the bar graphs are kind of up here near the top. And so I'm going to click on the little arrow. So I have options of what kind to pick, and I'm going to choose that. And look at that. It's most of the way how I want it. So I'm just going to kind of scoot it down here. All right. You know what, while I'm at it, I could make it so you can see a little bit better. Wouldn't that be cool? We could just zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. Look at that. It's like she knows what she's doing, folks. Okay. So what do we need to do here? Well, you're going to want to change your title because this graph you are putting in your lab report. So you're going to want to change it to figure 1, whatever the title is going to be for it. Okay, so you're going to want to give it its title. And then, like I said before, you're going to want to add axes titles as well. So you just click right there. And then the other thing that we're going to do is I just told you a second ago, I don't like the grid lines. So I take those out. And then the other thing that I like to do before I do anything else is I like to, like I said, I don't know how this works on an Apple, but on a PC, you right click in the white space, format plot area. And then for border, I like a solid border. And then you can like mess with all this cute crap too, like whatever, but I don't care. Okay. So that's just to make it look pretty. You're going to do your axes better than mine, right? Now, this is the tricky part. Okay. So you're looking at this and you're like, oh, error bars. That sounds like a thing. And then when you hover over it, oh, look, there's error bars. So you click on that and you think, sweet, I'm done. That's my standard deviation whiskers. Fantastic. The problem is they're not accurate. If you were to actually look at them carefully, they're not the business. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the box so that your error bars are turned on. But then what you're going to do is you're going to click on this little triangle. So standard error, percentage, standard deviation. And now you're thinking, awesome, all I have to do is click standard deviation. Sweet, I don't have to do anything. No. Because when I do that, look at that. Those are weird error bars. That doesn't even make sense, right? So that it's not that simple. It's still not that simple. So I keep scrolling to more options, click on more options. And I mean, this is how you make it all look with the edges and the crap, whatever, right? Okay. We're going to do custom because we calculated the standard deviations that we want. So we're going to put the ones that we want in there. Okay. All right. So click on custom and then click on this little button that says, sorry, my phone is blowing up. I don't know if you can hear that vibrating and pinging. It's Sunday, you know, I'm popular. So click on custom, specify value. And then this little like text box over here opens up. Okay. Now, this little box is super fussy for some reason. I don't know why, but it is. It's rude. Okay. So you'll notice that there's a positive error value and there's a negative error value. Essentially what that means is one of the error bars goes up, one of the error bars goes down. Well, standard deviation is in either direction, right? It's either, you know, you're this far away from the mean in a positive direction or a negative direction. So you're going to want for those, the positive error value and the negative error value to be equal. Okay. I have discovered the easiest way to do this. Okay. This is my top tip, right? Is this top box here. You want the equal, because remember, whenever we're doing formulas or anything, equal says, hey, I'm asking you to calculate or figure out something. Okay. And then what I do is I do equal, and then I highlight, click, drag, and then let go of the click, those two values. And I click. Okay. So it did my positive error bars correctly. Now I'm going to go back, select value this time. Is it going to let me, or is it going to be jerky? Good. That time I click on the negative error value, make it so that it just says minus. And then once again, click, drag, let go of the click, click OK. And now we have both of our error bars. We have our standard deviation, error bar, whiskers, as I like to call them. You know, they call them error bars. That's boring. Whiskers is cuter. Whatever, right? Anyway, so my graph is essentially done, other than the fact that it now needs to be labeled properly. And remember, another way that you can mess with your labels too is by typing in the text right here. So I wouldn't recommend trying to type your whole title there in that cell, because that's annoying. But you could certainly change this to north and south easily enough if you wanted to, right? And then you just got to click on boop, boop, boop to click on those. Okay. And then before you do anything else, I always say, once I get it the way I want it, I always click save. So click save. And then literally you can just copy and paste, right? So what you can do is, after you have it the way you want it, right? Once again, this is how you do it on a PC. I don't know how you do it on a Mac, since you guys don't have right click, right? Not having right click is annoying. I don't know how you guys do anything on Macs, but whatever. Okay. So what I do is then I right click the whole until the line around the entire graph lights up. I right click and then I do copy. And then I just open up a Word, you know, my Word document, put it where I want it, right click, paste as picture, right? So I'll just show you over here. Okay, so I copied it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste, but I'm not going to paste, paste as a picture. And that way it won't get screwed up in your Word document, because essentially what it's doing is, instead of like worrying about what numbers are in there and how it's calculated and blah, 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 it turns it into being basically a picture, so that you can just like make it bigger and smaller easily without it messing anything up. Okay. All right. I think that is all of the tips that you need for this. Sorry that I couldn't figure out the whiskers in class, but now you have this little video that you can rewind and pause and all of that. And if you have any questions, you guys know where to find me. Have a fantastic, whatever time of day this is that you're watching this. Okay. All right. See you guys soon. Now I got to find where I stopped the video, and I don't know how to find it because it's hidden when I share. Okay, there it is. All right. So see you soon.